Someone was bending over his bed, peering at him, breathing into his face. He'd felt a light and tickling breath on his cheeks, his eyelids, across his throat. When he opened his eyes, there was only his bedroom. Empty, yet still holding the essence and presence of a body. Something was etched in the air around him, the feel of someone, the heat, or perhaps just an imprint left from his imaginings. He lay under his covers, perturbed, focusing on a crack in the ceiling until the feeling disintegrated and the dream completely disappeared. He looked at his bedside clock, saw it was 6 a.m. and groaned, annoyed he'd been jolted so prematurely from sleep. He pulled back the covers and got out of bed. In the bathroom, August went straight to the mirror. He splashed hot water on his cheeks, picked up his shaving foam from the shelf above the sink, and sprayed a ball of foam into one hand. For 5, maybe 6 years now, what he saw most mornings wasn't just a face he didn't like. It was a face which didn't fit. August glanced at the mirror's edge. An old photograph was wedged behind it. The photo, about 3 inches long and 2 inches wide, had curled with age, and its colours had become a mixture of liverish browns and lurid, over-processed inks, purples, greens. Framed in the middle, in a tank top and jeans, stood Luke, a smallish, wiry man with long blonde hair and fine, even features, cheekbones, thin lips, dark eyes, tanned skin. Luke was handsome and impish, a vibrancy in his smile which spoke of an innate ease with the world. In the picture, Luke had his arms folded across his chest, and a large tattoo bulged high up on his right arm. Lucky Luke, the cartoon cowboy with the lounge crooner's eyes. Luke smiled out from the photograph with the sureness of that day's sunshine, with the abundance of the harvest at the time, with the ripeness of an afternoon, with the ease of evening. The photo was taken the day before he died. Luke, August's father, had died when he was 2 weeks old. Small, sunny Luke. Handsome, brown-eyed, lucky Luke. August rubbed foam slowly, deliberately across his cheeks, making large, smooth circles, his eyes picking over the photograph, Luke's hair, his mouth, his nose. As the years passed, as his face had gradually formed, August had grown more and more suspicious of the man in the photograph. The more he examined Luke's face for clues, a curve of the brow, or even of the ear, moles, freckles, anything, the more he'd come to see their connection was plainly incongruous. He looked nothing like Luke. In fact, they were impossibly different, and this disturbing idea, now living with him for years, was made worse by the fact that Luke's picture triggered no emotion, no filial response. When he looked at Luke, he felt nothing. Carefully, he rubbed foam along his top lip. His mother, he'd come to realize, also behaved oddly. As he'd grown older, he'd come to see her thinness. She was internally thin, collapsed in on herself, thin-voiced, thin-nerved. As a child, he hadn't understood, hadn't pieced together her mannerisms, her permanently clenched jaw, her habit of looking away when she spoke, of keeping conversations short, of being afraid of scrutiny of any sort. Her stories about Luke had always been kept to the minimum, the same few details repeated. She was on bad terms with Luke's parents and had lost contact, never encouraged him to trace them. He'd added all this up. Now he felt mocked. His eyes like pools of fat, his golem's skin, his teeth, his height, his colouring, all taunted him, most mornings. That morning, as he smoothed foam along his jawline, August felt a tingling in the backs of his forearms, a sheer blush of warmth, peculiar, as though a battery had been switched on inside him. He could feel his blood cells multiplying in a dim frenzy. He caught sight of one of his forearms in the mirror. It looked unusual. Something white, a pattern, was smattered along his arm, a rash of some sort. Perhaps he'd eaten something. Odd. He rarely got rashes, had no allergies that he knew of. The sensation spread up to his elbow, then his armpit, becoming warmer and more fluid. August peered closely at his arm. The pattern seemed to have risen up from under his skin, was part of it, in it even. He rubbed it, pinching up the skin between his thumb and forefinger. It appeared to be made of fine particles which sparkled a little, like salt or sugar. Crystals.